This is an ex-Muslim atheist channel, which tries to convey the truth of Islam to Muslim people and make them humanists and rationalists. Our aim is not to spread any kind of hatred towards people based on their religion or faith. Muslim brothers are requested to verify the sources given in video and start thinking differently. Is Abe Zamzam a miraculous well? Whose water is the most sacred water in the world? It is usually seen that pilgrims going for Hajj bring Abe Zamzam in big bottles and distribute it among their relatives and people they meet. But what is the truth about this holy water? Why is Zamzam water banned in America and the UK? And despite it being banned, big claims are made about it, like its miraculous healing properties, and it is claimed to be the best water in the world. We will know the story and history of Zamzam, and further, we will know about the research and real-world arrangements made on Zamzam. So, stay tuned to today's special video. Let's start in the name of humanity. This channel is not run with the help of any religion or organization. Support us in this noble campaign. An entire team works on every video of this channel, and there is no significant earning from YouTube. Your regular monthly support is needed to maintain this channel and mission. For this, you can also take membership of Patreon or channel, or you can also support through UPI and PayPal every month as per your financial condition. Become a soldier of this mission and feel proud to be a supporter of the biggest mission of the century. Abe Zamzam is the sacred water which holds great importance in Islam, without which even Hajj would not have been completed. Whenever Abe Zamzam is talked about, a spiritual and inspirational story is narrated to the believers, which is something like this. According to the story of Islam, Abraham received an order from Allah, in which Allah tells Abraham to send his wife Hajra and son Ismail away. Then Abraham did the same the next morning. Abraham put some dates in a bag and took some water, and left his wife Hagar and Ishmael to wander in the Arabian Peninsula desert, and gave them a bag of dates and water, also commonly called a water skin, and turned away from them and went back towards his home. On which Hajra said to him, "Abraham, where do you leave us?" To which Abraham did not say anything. Hajra asked this 3 times. Abraham did not answer. Then Hajra asked, "Is this the will of Allah?" Abraham said yes. On which Hajra said that it is okay. If it is Allah's will, then He will not disgrace us. And Hajra sat in the shade of a tree with her child Ismail. It is claimed that Ismail was a suckling child at that time. Islamic scholars claim that the valley in which Hajra was left was that of Mecca, but there is no evidence of this. Well, coming to the story further, the valley in which Hajra was left was between 2 hills, Zafar and Marwa. Zafar and Marwa are the same 2 hills that are present near the Kaaba today. This is the claim of Islamic scholars. After a few days, when Hajra's food and water ran out, and due to weakness, milk production in Hajra's chest also stopped. Then Ismail, who was still an infant child sucking milk, started crying and screaming due to hunger. Then Hajra felt that maybe her child might die due to thirst. Then she ran away and climbed a hill named Zafar and started searching there to see if anyone could help. When she did not see anyone there, she ran back to the valley and then climbed another hill called Marwa. There too, she searched for someone for help, but there too, she could not find anyone to help. After this, she ran back to the hill of Zafar, and in total, she circled Zafar and Marwa 7 times. It is claimed in the hadith that when Hajra climbed the hill for the last time, Ismail was rubbing his heels on the ground crying loudly from hunger, when suddenly there was a miracle performed. A fountain of water gushed out from where Ismail was rubbing his heels. And when Hajra saw it, she shouted, "Zamzam!" that is, "Stop, stop!" And the water stopped there. After this, Hajra quenched her and her son Ismail's thirst with that water, and then this stagnant water later came to be known as Zamzam. Now let us consider some things in this story. Looking at Islamic scriptures, we come to know that Hajra was an Egyptian woman who belonged to a royal family, which means that her language was also Egyptian. That is, the language of Hajra was not Arabic, it was the Egyptian language. Even if this is accepted as true, if she saw a spring of flowing water, then she would not say, Zamzam to stop it. Because these words, Zamzam, are from the Arabic language, not from the Egyptian language, and there is no word Zamzam in the Egyptian language. Well, moving ahead, if some hadiths are to be believed, Hajra made a mound of sand around this pond and named it Zamzam. If we look at many hadiths and the research done by Islamic scholars, we find some other things and hadiths in the story of Zamzam on which the scholars of the Islamic world are in disagreement among themselves. It is something like this. One story tells that Zamzam was discovered when the angel Gabriel stumbled on the ground. And some say that Allah gave such power in Hajra's eyes that she could see the streams of water flowing inside the ground. So she searched and found it. According to the hadith of Muhammad himself had told the people of Mecca by climbing the hills of Zafar and Marwa that this was the place where Hajra was standing waiting for help when she heard the sound of flowing water. And as soon as she went down, she saw water flowing near Ismail's feet. If she had not made a mound on it, that is, had not gathered it, which was later called Zamzam, it would have kept flowing till today. Well, let's come back to the story. After a few days, a tribe of Bani Juram came and stayed at the place where Hajra was present. They saw some birds flying in the sky and guessed that there was some trace of water nearby. When they reached there in search of it, they saw Bibi Hajra and Ismail there. On this, they asked Bibi Hajra whether they could use this water. Hajra gave permission for this, but refused to give the ownership rights of the water. That is to say, you can use the water, but only I have the right over it. Islamic scholars claim that the Bani Juram tribes settled in this wilderness. Later, Hajra started earning her living by selling that water to the people passing through there, and Mecca got populated. And then after some time, when Ishmael became older, she married Ismail off to a girl of this tribe, and then she died. It is mentioned in some authentic hadith that Hajra had married her son Ismail to an Egyptian girl. After a long time, the Banu Jurham clan was attacked by another tribe, Banu Khuza'a, who came from the south, and during this attack, the Banu Juram clan covered the Zamzam well by filling it with the holy things kept inside the Kaaba, and by placing soil on it, made the place leveled up and made it such that there was no trace of Zamzam left there. It is said that after several thousand years, the well of Zamzam was rediscovered after Muhammad's grandfather Abdul Muttalib received a sign from Allah in his dream. This story also came to our knowledge after researching the Islamic scriptures and hadith. There is no logic in this story because if any tribe had attacked Mecca, then that tribe would have known where the well of Zamzam was, because this Zamzam well was near the Kaaba, and these people had filled the Zamzam well and not destroyed the Kaaba along with the well. Anyway, there was no other source of water in that area except Zamzam, which is a big reason that shows that Zamzam was a very important source of water. And no human being could stay there for long without water. And then also think here that if the only source of water was shut off, then how did people settle in Mecca without any water source nearby? And the biggest thing is that even after the settlement of Mecca, from where were people meeting their other water needs? Because Abdul Muttalib had designated this water only for drinking. These logical arguments prove that this story is false. Either Zamzam was not the only source of water, or the place where Mecca is today does not belong to Zamzam or Kaaba. Rather, according to archaeologists, that location was most likely to be in Petra, which is a city in Jordan. We will talk about this in detail in our upcoming video. But if it is accepted in Islam that the Quran is true and a complete book in itself, which it is not, then there is neither any mention of Hajra nor any word of Zamzam in the Quran. That means it can also be said that this story is completely fake. Just think, when Allah kept taking the names of prophets from all over the world, kept taking the name of Jesus' mother Mary, then why not the name of Ismail's mother Hajra? When Allah was explaining the benefits of eating honey, then why did He not talk about the benefits of drinking holy water like Zamzam? Why is there no mention of either Hajra or Zamzam in the Quran? Was this added to Islam later through hadiths? In fact, it has been taken from the Bible, i.e., the Old Testament, and coined in the Islamic world. There can be many reasons for this, which are something like this. Reason for copying Zamzam well. Actually, in those times, having a water well in any rugged area was a wonder in itself. And where today, Mecca has the only source of water, the well of Zamzam. So it is no surprise that this well used to hold a sacred and spiritual status for the people there. Some historians even believe that in ancient times, Zamzam was considered more sacred than Kaaba. Kaaba became more sacred because of this well of Zamzam. Just as in our India there are temples near holy rivers, a similar Kaaba was also present near the well of Zamzam. And it was like a holy temple. That is why this Kaaba was given more importance. Because those who know Arabic history, or those who are our regular viewers, know that in those times, there used to be more than 10 Kaabas, in which the main one was the current Kaaba of Habal, the rest were Kaaba of Lat, Kaaba of Manat, Kaaba of Uzza, and the Kaaba of the Egyptian goddess Isis were the most famous. And even after this, many types of Kaaba existed. That's why it was very easy to connect such a water source like Zamzam to any miracles that appear to be supernatural, like a water source being revealed through rubbing of heels of divine baby, or water coming out due to the stumble of an angel's feet or by the order of God itself. These were such stories that people believed them to be true at that time. So what was the reason that the well, which used to be a sacred water source, was deliberately connected with the well dug by Muhammad's grandfather? Again, that is a conspiracy to prove Muhammad the true prophet. My claim is not a hearsay. If we read about Hajra and Ismail in the books of other Abrahamic religions, then we get this. According to Torah, Hagar, who was called Hajra in Islam, was the slave of Sarah, the first wife of Abraham, whom Sarah gave under the protection of Abraham, from whom Abraham gave birth to a child, i.e. Ishmael, who later, after turning 10 years old, God gave a son to Sarah also. After this, Sarah started feeling that this boy Ishmael should not take away the rights of her son Isaac. Realizing this, Sarah quarreled with Abraham and said to leave Hagar and her son away from here. And Abraham did the same. That is, when Hajra and her son Ismail had turned 14 years old, he left them somewhere in Israel, which was in the Arabian Peninsula. There Hajra received a message from God that this child was special. Until he come of age, God will take care of him and create a wonderful nation from him, which is a biblical story. The Arabs of Saudi Arabia claim this nation as their own nation. And it was the Abbasids who gave so much importance to this story and used it in their religion so that they could feel proud and say to the people and prove such a lie that Hazrat Muhammad is the Prophet of Allah and was one of the descendants of Abraham. And this well named Zamzam is the same well which was revealed due to the rubbing of the feet of Ismail, the son of Abraham. Which is absolutely nonsense, because we do not find any archaeological evidence of this till date. Other Abrahamic religions that started before Islam are also not so fanatic today that they consider any water source as sacred. According to Torah, the well that Hagar found was not in Mecca but in Israel, 1600 kilometers away from Mecca, and whose name was not Zamzam but Bir Lahai Ro, which is somewhere between Kadesh and Beret in Israel. Neither they have any interest in this story of Torah, nor in the place where the actual well was, as per story. Well, we come to know that this story is completely different from the story of Islam. One solid reason for which I can tell you is that there is no mention of Hajra and Zamzam at a single place in the Quran. This story is completely stolen from Torah, which was written several hundred years after the death of Muhammad during the Abbasi Sultanate, so that people could believe that this is the same Kaaba and this well of Zamzam is the same well which existed during the time of Ismail, which is absolutely false. The desperation that the Arab people had to connect Muhammad with the Abrahamic lineage, we can also know from a hadith of the time of Muhammad, in which a person, Hassan, who was a poet, once asked the Prophet whether he should write insulting poetry for pagans. The Prophet said, "What will you do with it, that I am also one of them?" Hassan said, "I will take you out from among them like hair is taken out from dough," meaning that this person will lie to change the pagan lineage of Muhammad. It is further revealed in the hadith that Aisha also respected that person, because he made the Prophet special with his poetry. Here, I do not wish to give importance to any other religion, Nor do I say that this religion is true and so religion is false. I just want to say that this Zamzam water is exactly like any ordinary water, or even worse than that. This is not miraculous water which can provide any benefit or healing to people by drinking it. To know more about this water, let's take a look at the history of its maintenance by the Saudi Arabian government. Evolution of Zamzam. In earlier times, Zamzam was pulled from the well by hands using a rope with a bucket. This well was about 30 meters deep and about 1 meter to 2.5 meters, i.e., about 3 feet to 8 feet in diameter. There used to be underground water inside, which came from Wadi El Masa, and some rainwater used to seep through the stones and reach it. Historians say that water was taken out from Zamzam well only through ropes and buckets. But in 1964, 2 electric motors were installed on this well, which were used to transport water to a place called Kudai, 5 kilometers to the south, which could pump 11 to 18 liters per second. These motors were installed by King Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz Zamzam Company, Saudi Arabia. After some time, a water filter treatment plant was installed in it, and an ultraviolet light system was also installed where the water was stored, after which this water was also given the title of National Water of Saudi Arabia. But it is worth thinking, why? Why there was a need to install things like water treatment plant and ultraviolet plant on miraculous water like Zamzam? Let us know further. The fact is that Saudi Arabia receives 3 to 4 centimeters of rainfall annually, which is actually very less, but was enough to fill the Zamzam well. But as the population of people increased and more people started going to Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj and Umrah, then the pilgrims started using it. The water of Zamzam also started being used more and more. To overcome its shortage, the Saudi government set up plants to refill Zamzam with water through underground pipe fittings. And why wouldn't this happen? Because the well of Zamzam is a small well, which is inadequate for a large population. Now also comes the matter that the land of Saudi Arabia, which is completely rocky and lifeless barren land, in which a large amount of toxic chemicals and minerals are also found in the land, which are very dangerous for humans, out of which the main chemical is arsenic, which when consumed in large quantities weakens the bones and is also responsible for bone cancer. Apart from this, the amount of nitrate inside Zamzam was also very high, and harmful bacteria were present in very high quantity. All these chemicals and bacteria found in the water were 3 times the legal limit. To improve its quality, an RO filter plant was installed, which filtered the water of Zamzam and started filling it in the tank, and later after eliminating its bacteria with ultraviolet rays, the calcium and minerals used to be added. This is clearly a well-planned conspiracy by the Arabs to prove that Zamzam water is the best water. Let's see another interesting fact about this. Till the 60s, the Saudi Arabian government used to give some medicines to the pilgrims coming for Hajj as soon as they entered the airport, which were meant to prevent diarrhea, food poisoning, and waterborne diseases. And not only this, but the other Muslim countries. This medicine was given to the pilgrims by the airports and shipping companies of their countries, because the Arabs knew that the water of Zamzam is very bad, which can cause stomach upset and spoil the health of the people coming from outside. Being afraid of this, Saudi Arabia had provided these medicines for Haji people, and it was also made very important to consume these medicines. If there are people present in your house who had performed Hajj around 1950 and 60, then they can confirm you whether these medicines were given to him or not. This clearly shows that the water of Zamzam was not a miraculous or sacred water. Rather, it was an ordinary dirty water, or rather it was rainwater, which used to seep into the ground and get accumulated in a deep pit. If we talk about today, the world's largest desalination plant is installed in Saudi Arabia. This plant filters water and has the power to convert salt water into sweet water. Today, with the help of these technologies, Zamzam water is properly filtered and is put into the well, then it is extracted from there before giving it to people. The interesting thing is that these plants are not made in Arabia, but they are made in America, and then from there, they are imported to Arabia. Zamzam is always tagged as a miracle, has been given to the Hajis to drink, and money has also been earned from it. And even today, its business is running smoothly. Its money is not taken directly, but it plays a big role in the business of Kaaba of Saudi. To fill this water there, when you buy bottles, etc., or when you bring more than 5 liters of water, which people often bring, then the charge taken for it goes into the pocket of the Saudi government, which directly benefits Saudi Arabia. That is why they keep its history hidden. While it is also true that today only those people can bring this water to US and UK who have gone on Hajj or Umrah, whose bottles are purchased from Arabs' authorized Zamzam factory. Let us understand why through other ways this water is banned in these countries. The BBC's allegation and response? In May 2011, the sale of Zamzam water was banned in the UK and then in the US, mainly due to the high level of harmful bacteria and arsenic in Zamzam water, which was 3 times higher than the legal limit. It was very high, and this water was very acidic, which was very harmful for humans. Saudi Arabia rejected this claim outright, but after that, when they got the water sample tested, they found the claims of America and UK to be true. But Saudi Arabia put the entire blame on the bottle packing company and saved its honor. Since 2011, Zamzam water is banned in the UK and America. That is, now it cannot be sold in any public place. America allows its people to drink only the water taken from the authorized Zamzam factory of the Saudi government, because it does not trust Arabs. Rather, they rely on the filter plants built by them and given to the Arabs. This entire case was covered by BBC UK, which you can also read by Googling. However, now it can be assumed that the water of Zamzam has been completely filtered in this time, and calcium and minerals are added to it after neutralizing it. Then this water can now be considered good for health, but till 50-60 years ago, this water was not even fit for drinking. From today's video, we come to know that the sacredness of Zamzam is nothing but a deception. Just as Kaaba is a means of business for Saudi Arabia today, in the same way Zamzam is also a means on the basis of which Islam is sustained. Those false stories are sustained on which your faith rests. If Islam were a true religion, and if this story were true, then this water would be truly miraculous, and there would be no need to filter it so much. The rivers of our country are much better than this water, where at least the water is drinkable directly. This is the water which is not fit for drinking without filtration. You are being fooled with the help of these false stories. To keep you bound to Islam, a Kaaba and a well were arranged, the dead body of a pharaoh was arranged. An attempt was made to make the unscientific verses of the Quran appear scientific by putting brackets on them. Why all this? So that you keep filling the pockets of Arabs who do not even consider you Muslims. Now the time has come that you open your eyes and see how big the level of deception can be. Be wise and get the courage to come out of your religious darkness and move with the world. Stay safe. May humanity protect you.